As we know that today we are here for very important topic, that is e-waste recycling industry, evolving trends in India. Today, in front of us, very prestigious personality of India in the sector of e-waste recycling, Mr. ALN Rao sir, presenting here. Welcome you, sir. Prior to start our session, I would like to brief about today's speaker. Mr. Rao is the Chief Executive Officer in Exigo Recycling in India. Prior to this, he held various leadership positions in different corporates like Aditya Birla Retail and Videocon and Atro Recycling. He is an environmentalist at heart and a leader in the waste management industry, e-waste, plastics, and battery recycling and refining. Winner of many distinguished awards in India. He have various spectrum of different experiences in the field of electronics industries in India and abroad, a specialist offering solution in the B2B and B2C space in electronic refurbishing and recycling. A proven change agent consistently refining and revitalizing business strategies, introducing innovation and facilitating solution-driven team collaboration locally and globally. His objective of life to continue offering sustainable and valuable services to mankind that brings in a positive change and a smile. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now you can start. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gandhi. Can I share the presentation?
Yeah, definitely. You may share.
Is it visible now?
Yes, clear.
Yeah, 1 second. Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Gandhi. I should
Yes, sir.
convey my special regards to Mr. Indrajit Ghosh, who was actually spearheading the entire movement as far as the MSME is concerned. And kudos to him and his team. So thank you, MSME, for giving an opportunity for me to speak on a very important subject in India, e-waste recycling. So the global waste scenario, as far as e-waste is concerned, as per the latest reports that we have, it's around 53 million metric tons in 2019 globally, and projected to reach around 74 million tons. And the total value of the raw materials in e-waste in 2019 has been around 57 billion US dollars. That's the number that's been calculated. And ironically, 7 to 20% of e-waste by volume is assumed to have moved outside national boundaries of developed nations. Now, that's a sad part, right? So let me move on to the next. So today's presentation, I am looking at 4 parts to the presentation. The first part is about 4 key stakeholders I've taken. There are multiple stakeholders in India, but I'm mentioning only 4. The last 10 years, how it's been, as far as challenges and the way ahead for various stakeholders. C, about our organization, Exigo Recycling. And 4, last but not the least, way forward. So the four stakeholders I'm wanting to talk today is about A, policymakers, B, about the producers, C, about the PROs or the producer responsibility organization, and D, about recyclers. So starting with policymakers, in 2011, the first e-waste rules, management and handling rules were actually implemented, was announced in the country. Now, at that time, it was a very nascent industry. There were hardly any recyclers out there, a very handful of them. Nobody understood what e-waste was all about. And that was a very basic foundation stage for the country, I would say. Then came in 2016, where after discussions with multiple stakeholders and across the world, global discussions that took place, came in the rules for EPR, the Extended Producer Responsibility Rules, and again an amendments to that came in 2018. So the policymakers have been very active in the last decade in ensuring that the required laws that are required for the country are being discussed with all stakeholders and then finally implemented in the country, announced, and the legislations are passed. Now, we have also seen plastic waste management, the national resource efficiency policy drafts, and the battery waste management drafts that's come out in the country now. So as far as EPR is concerned, the current status is the number of producers who have taken license for EPR is around 1,669. The number of PROs that are there in the country are 34. And the number of recyclers, dismantlers in the country are 312. So sticking on still with the policymakers, the states, the CPCB MOEF, under MOEF comes in CPCB is the implementing agency nationally, but it's the state pollution control boards which actually makes the implementation of the ground level in that particular state very, very relevant. So speaking about a few states which have taken initiatives, let me talk about Kerala, a company that's been formed by the Kerala government. You would have seen the latest havoc of floods that's come in Kerala. This organization actually created wonders in ensuring that the city comes back to its feet much faster. And they are very active in the waste management spectrum. Again, one of the states to mention apart, along with many other states is Orissa, where we're seeing the state coming up with very positive, vibrant actions for that matter. And Telangana is Tamil Nadu is another state where inventorization has been given to the NPC, the National Productivity Council, and hopefully there should be some numbers that should be revealed for Tamil Nadu as far as the inventories are concerned. So many states are active now, and that's good news for all of us in India. Moving on to the next stakeholder, producers. Now, producers in 2011 when the laws were announced, at that time the seriousness was not there in the producers, but only in 2016 when the EPR rules were announced, that's a time where seriousness started coming in, because from 2011 to 2016 it used to be a revenue model as far as producers are concerned, but from 2016 onwards it's a cost model. So hence EPR is nothing but a physical and financial responsibility for the post-consumer stage of a product. And it's the responsibility of every producer to ensure that the products that they have sold are actually collected after end of life and recycled in the environment-friendly manner. So the challenges that existed for the producers was a huge cost of compliances. Now, provisioning not planned as far as the future losses were concerned. Because since it's a cost model, it's very tough because the provisioning was not done in the book of accounts for these people as far as the business plans were concerned for the next few years' time from 2016 onwards. One of the issues in the last 2-3 years, what we have seen is interpretation of laws by different stakeholders, by different states, and even for collection centers, collection points, even for awareness campaigns, awareness budgets. For example, I spend ₹1 lakh and another person spends in 10 lakh rupees or ₹1 crore, and everybody are being put into the same bucket. So still certain challenges exist, but by far in the last 2-3 years time, there are a lot of these clarifications that were required has been given by the policymakers, but still there's a lot of way to go to. And as far as the way ahead plans for producers are concerned, What has happened now is the producers have started looking at it as sustainability as a key agenda now, which was missing the last 10 years' time. Two, innovative ways to meet targets has been designed, developed, implemented, executed as we speak, and that's something very interesting. And in a very innovative ways, quite a few brands have come in, trade-in programs have come in, and buyback solutions have been announced. Own e-commerce websites have been announced by the brands. So digital platforms have started coming in, mobile applications have started coming in. So pretty good advancements that have taken place in the last 2-3 years by producers. So one of the point the change that we are seeing, because of the high cost, we're able to witness a few producers taking up recycling option and trying to set up recycling plants on their own. Or another concept is to an established recycler, they're trying to give it on an O&M model per se. So, to talk about producers, yes, there's been challenges, but it looks very encouraging of the efforts that's been put in. And we could see a lot of changes coming forward in the next decade, I would say. The next player is PROs. The PRO is a concept, a producer responsibility organization, is a concept that's been imported from Europe. It works on a different form in Europe, but in India, there's been a lot of fine tuning that has taken place. The objective of a PRO was to take a very central role as far as implementation of EPR is concerned. But the last 2-3 years' time, there's been a lot of PROs who have tried a lot of things, but we understand that now things are changing, perspectives are changing, and the models are changing. The PROs never had a level playing field. The PROs are the ones who have to invest across the ecosystem, right from the producer to the warehouses to the logistics players, to the labor, to recyclers and working capital investments across, and to the informal sector, not the least. So, and again, from the bulk consumers, getting in products, getting in e-waste is a nightmare even as we speak, and it's the same that the producer responsibility organization have been facing. And no producers are willing to give in long-term commitments to any producer, any PRO. So that itself brings in dilemma. So what has happened? PROs have started moving into plastic waste management and battery waste management. There's lots, EPR is going to come into all these aspects in this verticals too. So people have started moving out. They have also started getting into own battery recycling plants, own dismantling and recycling plants, I would say. The softwares that they have developed, good softwares, good work done. Informal sector getting a reach done, reaching out to the educational institutions, good job done by a handful of PROs. But there's a long way to go as far as PROs are concerned in this country. Recyclers, the last 10 years, when, as I said, in the first few years' time, from 2011 to 2016, the plants that were there, the capacities, the plant was running only to around 10, 20, 30% capacity. The e-waste was not at all available because of the informal sector. The informal sector used to procure anything and everything, a beautiful, very well networked informal sector in the country. So parts harvesting is a pretty common thing as far as informal sector is concerned, and non-environment friendly recycling techniques used there. Now, also the challenges that were there as far as recyclers are concerned for volumetric products to ship it across the country, warehousing that's required for this, with from VAT to GST shift that's taking place, taxes again. So these are basic issues that exist as far as recyclers are concerned. The recycling process is also, mostly it has been pre-processed. It's been pre-processing that's taking place with recyclers in the country even now as we speak. A few recyclers only are moving beyond that, for that matter. Payments is another aspect where the working capital investment that is required and investment as well as setting up plants are concerned without any support from any government authorities, nor from the government, central or state. The US industry, recycling players are finding it very, very, very difficult to set up large plants, bringing in technologies and to set up processes. And move ahead as well as bringing in cutting edge technologies and processes are concerned. So the way ahead for recyclers, the progression from dismantling to recycling is taking place. The recycling to refining, that's an area where a few recyclers have moved ahead now, and that's a welcome change which we are able to see. Recyclers have shifted, has moved along with e-waste to battery recycling, metal extraction, ferrous and non-ferrous metals, new concepts, new technologies, new processes that has come in also, which we are able to see. There are a lot of labs, the government labs that are there, like CSIRs and NMLs, have come out with, and CMETs, who have come out with various good solutions. So there are some tie-ups that's happening of these technologies with the recyclers. So different models, cost-effective models are being introduced now in the country, which was not there 5-6 years back. But there's a sea change that has happened as far as the recycling community is concerned. The policy level support for the recycling industry currently, it's not there from the government, but there are a lot of work in progress and as far as policy support is concerned. And the recyclers are in touch with the government authorities to see how best the industry can be given a privileged status and support the recycling industry in a big way. So to speak about the organization Exigo Recycling, we are basically a player who takes care of electronics, IT products, mobility products, plastics and batteries. We take care of the end of life products and extending the life of the product. We are a B2B, B2C player, 3 plants in the country, and there are many more plants which we are introducing in the country and abroad also, adding additional around 250,000 tons capacity in the country. We're there in refurbishing, recycling, refining, remanufacturing too. So just to give you 1 or 2 processes that we have come out with in the country. In refrigerators, the composition of a refrigerator is plastics and compressors and puff and rubber and acrylic, etc. So one of the key component is puff, where it contains hazardous gases, and it's the density wise it's on the higher side, and there's no known practices to recycle puff. And currently it's actually being disposed of in landfills, and even it costs money to dispose of in landfills. Logistics cost also is on the higher side and highly inflammable too. So we have come out with a technology where we come out with a process where we're able to, do the milling of the puff and degassing it and make it into briquettes of around 1 feet by 4-inch dia and send it to the cement kilns, easy for logistics, you save money. So from a negative proposition, we have come out to a positive proposition now. And with the calorific value being equivalent to coal and the residual value less than coal, this is a concept which I believe is going to help the environment and help the next generations in a very big way, not only in India, but also abroad. That's one process which we have come out with. The second one we have come out with is, in consumer, in e-waste, 30, 40, 50% is plastics that comes in. Now, in this plastic, there are good quality plastic, or if I were to put in, the polymers are basically of low density and high density. So what we have come out with the process is basically a carbonation process where these polymers that are there, let us say plastic tubs, washing machine tubs that comes in, or panels that comes, the frames of televisions, or such materials where we are able to carbonate, get into the pyrolysis model, and for high density polymers we are able to extract light diesel oil, and with the low density polymers that are there we are able to extract syngas, where we are able to connect it to a turbine generator and generate power, and so it's a captive power generation which we are able to do this. It's live as we speak in our plants now. Another last one which I would like to speak about is about lithium-ion batteries and electric vehicle batteries. We know the market is going to grow in a very, very big way, and it's a $100 million opportunity which we are able to see. That's the numbers that's come out with various research papers in the country. So we have set up a plant now. We are able to extract, we are able to recycle all these batteries, battery packs, 18650 cells from laptops, and multiple chemistries we are able to recycle and get the black mass out, and we are able to extract cobalt, lithium, manganese, nickel from these batteries currently. Some awards we have won. Last year we won for one of the processes that we have excellence in e-waste recycling as the 3R awards we won. So way forward, as far as the country, the industry is concerned, a mass balance system, a digital India online mass balance system is very much required for the country. Integrating the informal sector is a very, very key constituent for success of this industry. Setting up standards, along with it's the BIS which have to actually set in the standards, and there are standards available worldwide, good ones. I'm sure that sort of standards for this industry is required. Inventorization of e-waste, very much needed. It's missing currently, state-wise. We know for a fact 21 item codes are there as far as EPR is concerned currently. And we got the information that over 90, I think the number is going to go up to 90 WEEE items, which in the next few months' time, as far as EPR is concerned. And to give in some sort of benefits for recycled metals and materials for the recyclers in the government contracts and in the general public trade also. So last but not the least, this is my last slide. So second last slide, yeah. The e-waste industry is actually dependent on the maturity, transparency, and accountability of all stakeholders. Now, that's the key. Now, without that, this industry cannot move forward. And the producers, because it starts and ends with the producer, actually, they are the ones who have to have a very, very long-term vision and play a very, very vital role. They should be the enablers, actually speaking. Recyclers, I would take that ownership and say that we recyclers have to instill the confidence to the entire country and the world that in India, indigenous technologies, processes are possible, and we will be able to demonstrate success and put up low-cost, high-yield plants processes and demonstrate the same. Enforcement is very, very key for the success of this industry. And last but not the least, rapid digitization, meaningful engagement with all stakeholders is key to robust e-waste management system of the future. So that's it from my side. So let's jointly sustain a green environment. And thank you, MSME, for giving this opportunity to me. Over to you, Mr. Gandhi. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Few questions coming from participant that development of waste recycling technologies in India. What is your concern about that?
Let me take it in two parts. Now, if you look into the actual processes that is being followed for extraction of parts in the informal sector, there are very, very effective methods available. They're not doing it hygienically, they're not doing it environment friendly and all that, but there's a lot of knowledge available already there. Now, as far as the current recyclers and dismantlers are concerned, there are various processes that has been evolved in the last 10 years by all these players, by many players, and they have come out with various innovative processes. Labs such as CMET and others, NML, they also have various processes where they are able to work on the dismantling process for products and come out. So technology is a much bigger, broader term. The objective for all of us is processes. How effective processes of ours is, and at low cost, can we get in high yield? Now that's the challenge. Now, so there are multiple aspects to these processes. It's the machinery, it's the type of metal that's used in the machinery, the shredders that are used there, the techniques that are being used, the temperatures, geographical situations that we have. There are multiple aspects to it, but what I have seen in the last 10 years, I think India as a country has evolved as far as processes and technologies are concerned in a very big way. Now, due to certain reasons, a lot of information is not coming out and it is not being told publicly by many recyclers of what they have. And as the government comes out with some good initiatives and good schemes, I think the next 3 to 5 years' time, you will see a lot of such players coming out with their own processes and technologies, which will be, I would say, it will be a winner. It will be a winning solution for the entire country and the world, for that matter.
Sir, one special concern that this is very much important, that initiative on building awareness in e-waste management. It is indeed very essential for Indian economic growth and for overall sustainable development. So, what do you think for coming 2030 and 2050, that Honorable Prime Minister having that vision for developed country? So, what do you think that which type of component and methodology can be used to make awareness in this section?
The sad part to start with is the government has put in the onus of responsibility on the producers to ensure that you create the awareness, because it is under a polluters pay principle, and which I say it is unfair for that matter. Now, awareness is everybody's responsibility. It's not only one stakeholder's responsibility, right? Now, so each stakeholder, what is it that they would need to do? And B, the government itself on a larger scale, like the Swachh Bharat campaigns, the Clean India campaigns, and so on and so forth. There are multiple schemes, political awareness programs that's been done, and we are able to see the success of such programs. And even for waste management, that is something which needs to be looked at by the government. So I would say, priority-wise, 50-60% of the share as far as awareness responsibility is concerned, it should be from the government side. And then comes in the producers who have to actually bring, along with the manufacturing of the product and selling of the product, awareness for waste management should become a part and parcel. Under no circumstances it should actually be part of a CSR budget, I would say. It should be a different budget. And but if the government is able to, there has been some changes in the CSR budget rules and norms now currently. But if something like this can be allocated and big companies come in and spend that money, I'm sure there will be a lot of awareness that will be created. Now, the other aspect is we have seen that the conglomerates are not coming in and actually spending a lot of money as far as waste management is concerned, even in the plastic side and in the e-waste side. So that's something which I look forward to from the conglomerates in the next 2 to 3 years' time, that their participation would actually make a big difference too.
Sir, one more question from young participant, that if anyone want to set up an e-waste recycling plant, then what is the criteria, and what is some condition that should be fulfilled as per your experience and present some regulation led by
That's a very good question, and I should thank whoever is youth who has actually asked that question. And I look forward to a lot of youth actually taking up such responsibilities and start getting into entrepreneurship. To tell to everybody about the industry, it's a glamorous industry, but it's a very dirty industry also, right? You have to get your hands dirty to understand what recycling is all about. Now, in my opinion, like an apprenticeship, right? That's the key. So anybody who wants to start a recycling industry or put up a plant, understanding product is the key. And it is not just setting up a plant. Trust me, setting up a plant, you might have money or you might take it on loan or support come in and people will be ready to invest. You can set up a plant any which way. But if you don't understand product, if you don't understand metals, if you don't understand processes, chemicals, so on and so forth, you will not be successful. So getting into an apprenticeship and starting to learn about getting your hands dirty as far as the product is concerned is key. B, the next step the evolution should be into a dismantling stage where you are able to strip open a product completely on your own, understand the ill effects, the harmful effects, the dangers that are associated in that, and the benefits that you can derive from each of the part that you are able to dismantle. Then comes in the process of saying, okay, now that I've understood the product and B, I've understood about the dismantling process of these products. And now for me to set up an industry, I have to get into becoming a dismantler, take the necessary licenses, and then set up the plant there. From there onwards, then move into a recycling plant. Understand, investing in a plant, whether dismantling or recycling, involves a cost of land. That's the key. Now that is the major expense, I would say major cost as well as, and the government has not given any benefits yet to this particular industry as far as land is concerned. So that, and this is a red category industry. So you cannot set it up within the urban locations within the city. You have to set it up across in the far-flung areas from the city. B, logistics. If it's volumetric products, it's going to eat away a lot of money. Anywhere crisscross across the country from 8 rupees to 20 rupees a kg is the logistics cost itself. C, the power consumption that is required. At an average around 6 rupees to 10 rupees is the cost of power that's there in the country. And it's going to kill anybody and everybody who wants to put up machines without knowing, buying some machineries and putting it up there without understanding the variable cost, the running cost as far as electricities and others are concerned. It will pull your profits down and your capital down much faster. And then last but not the least, the environmental regulations that are there for air, water, your STPs, ETPs, so on and so forth. There are multiple licenses that needs to be taken. And once you take all that, then you will be in a position to get in those licenses and then start recycling per se. And then comes in your business development and getting in the business and trying to fulfill all the compliances that is required for the client and the government, and then also ensure that you make your own profits. So I'm not trying to scare anybody out, but I'm trying to say there's good money to be made, but going one step at a time approach will actually yield good results for a very long time to come.
Sir, if we look at see that there are some environmental laws also incurred that is applicable for setting up an e-waste recycling plant, which is very much important. So can you explore some more on, especially for environmental law, that it should be concerned before setting up this plant?
Yeah. See, as I said, air and water and fire and safety and health, all this are part of any industry per se, and it applies to this industry also, right? So all this, there are environmental laws as far as hazardous gases is concerned, hazardous substances are concerned, air, for water, for fire, there are independent laws that are there. So you need to take in permissions and licenses, and because these are metals, right? So putting in the product, so metals basically once it leaching takes place, it leaches the earth through water, through soil, and because of this, there's very harmful diseases, cancers, and so on and so forth that comes in. So hence, that sort of a laws are very strict, tighter in implementation, and some states is very, very tough for that matter. Again, gases, a lot of dangerous gases that are there, like from air conditioners, compressors, refrigerators, compressors, the gases that comes out. You have to have your air pollution control machines, mechanisms, APCMs out there, which actually captures all this, and the release of these gases into the air, after you cleansing it and filtering it, only then pure gas you will be able to release. So there are various laws out there. It's pretty strict. Going forward, it's going to become tougher and tougher and tougher, and which I welcome it, and that's the way, and that's the right way of doing it also. And that is how we will excel in putting up environmental friendly recycling plants in the country for any product category per se.
As we know, sir, that growth in the IT and communication sector has enhanced the usage of the electronic equipment exponentially, and faster upgradation of electronic products is forcing consumers to discard old electronic product very quickly, which is turn adds to e-waste to the solid waste stream. So the growing problem e-waste calls for greater emphasis on recycling e-waste and better e-waste management. So I would like to explore few your thought that what are the challenges and opportunities in India, because this is the major issue as per sustainable development goal uh, by the United Nations that explored. So because Honorable Indrajit Ghosh sir main motto behind this wonderful workshop, that whole global countries, developing countries, that should be uh, especially focused and make aware through this workshop, because various global participation from different countries they are looking for. And so how e-waste management can be concerned in a more effective manner for developing country, which is going to be very fast in upcoming time. So what is your concern about that?
That's a good point. I think we can speak for a few hours on that point, actually speaking. But to keep it short, see, in Europe and other countries, it is the PRO concept. So, as a producer, when I'm selling a product, there is a fee that is charged, right? So there is a pound or a dollar that's being charged, which the consumer pays when at the purchase of the product. So that fee is actually given to the recycler, and most of the products there are actually taken back by the retailer or the distributors out there, and it goes on to the recycler. So there's a very well set system there, right? And because of the rapid digitization and advancements in technologies, disposable products, electronics have started coming in the world in a very big way. However, in India, even let's say I buy a new T-shirt, and that T-shirt will go through 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles, and finally it will go to my car cleaner. He will clean the car with that, and finally then it will be thrown out, right? Similarly, we Indians expect 10 rupees to 20 rupees, 10 rupees to 15 rupees a kg for old newspaper. So for electronics, no way we are going to give it free of cost. So we expect monies to be paid, right? Now, the objective of the EPR that has come in is for anybody, since an end consumer expects money for the old product, the cost of recycling, the cost of logistics, the cost of warehousing, all put together is much greater than the actual money that is being paid to the end consumer for that old product. Because there is a gap, the viability gap funding is the concept that has come in from EPR, which the producers are paying now to the recyclers or to the PRO. Right? Now, is that enough? to a certain extent, a start has been made, right? So I'm happy with that one. So to sustain this process, the EPR law states that as a producer, when you sell a product after end of life, based on certain targets, you ensure you put in a process of collecting back that product from the end consumer, end of life product, and giving it to the recycler. However, currently that is not happening. Currently, it's only 5-10% that is happening. Balance, everybody are buying this material from the informal sectors out there and trying to recycle the products. The shift is starting to take place now. Over a period of time, the end consumer will start giving in these products to the producer directly or to the representative of the producer directly. At that time, the cost of the EPR or recycling of these products will start coming down. And as more recyclers open up multiple plants in the country, the cost of recycling will reduce. And in that way, what will happen is for an industry, the cost of recycling once it goes down, or cost of compliance if it goes down, the systematic processes and procedures will get evolved, and large amount of e-waste will start getting recycled. So it is the next 10 years we are going to see a gradual shift happening. Starts have been made. So the 90%, 80, 90, 95% of e-waste that is being purchased for the producers or by the producers to achieve their targets, e-waste targets, recycling targets, will shift in the next 5 to 10 years time to 20, 30%. And at that time, you will be able to see a very sustainable model of collection, logistics, warehousing, and recycling. So I'm happy that in 2018, the amendments came in. In the last 2-3 years' time, we are able to see big changes that have happened. In the next 3 years' time, I believe it will happen much faster because it was a learning phase for everybody, all stakeholders in the country. By 2025, I think we will reach a stage where it will be much evolved, and from 2025 to 2030, I think the country will move very rapidly in establishing a very innovative, unique model which will be replicated by many countries around the world. That's my take on the point that you mentioned.
Thank you so much, Rao sir, for your wonderful presentation and your all inputs that you have explored on recycling e-waste management. Before concluding, I would like to ask if any audience have question, they can raise their hand, they can ask. Or I would like to share one of our MSME continue work out and growth till so far. So I would like to share my screen. I think time is over, sir. So we have to close the session.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because that time was already set it. So
Okay.
no problem. So thank you so much for everyone for participating in this excellent workshop. And thank you so much, sir, for your excellent input again. And see you again for next session.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Mr. Gandhi. Thank you, Mr. Indrajit of MSME, and thank you, MSME, for giving this opportunity. It's good to have such workshops and, given our knowledge, share our knowledge to a lot of people out there. And there's a lot of learning that will happen also through these exercises for every one of us. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Good day. Yeah.